Benefits of case study. The case study can be used on their own or as a complement to other research methods, depending on the situation. The examples that we have discussed above are just few instances where case studies can be useful. Case studies also work well with the following that we are going to discuss. First is providing insight through qualitative data. So, case studies generally provide more qualitative data as opposed to quantitative data, and that makes them an invaluable tool for gathering insights into complex topics. Psychologists, for instance, use case studies to better understand human behavior. Crafting theories on the motives behind human actions would be difficult with quantitative data alone. So, the information gleaned through case studies may be subjective, but so is much of what makes us human. As individuals, we each have a unique blend of emotions, attitudes, opinion, motivations, and behaviors. Objective quantitative data is rarely the best way to identify and explain these nuances. By their very nature, case study allows more intensive, in-depth study than other research methods. Rather than aiming for a large sample size, case studies follow a single subject. Often, case studies are conducted over a longer period of time, and the narrow focus allows researchers to gather more detail than would be possible in a case study of thousands of people. The information gleaned may not be representative of the broader population, but it does provide richer insight into the subject than any other research methods. Next is identifying avenues for future research. Case studies are often used as the first step in larger research projects. The result of case study cannot necessarily be generalized, but they can also help researchers narrow down their focus. For instance, researchers in the medical field might conduct a case study on a patient who survived an injury that typically proves fatal. Over the course of study, researchers may identify 2 or 3 ways in which this patient's situation differed from others they have seen. Perhaps they identify something unique in the patient's DNA or lifestyle choices or in the steps doctor took to treat the injury. Letting that information guide them, researcher could use other methods to deepen their understanding of those factors and perhaps develop new treatment or preventive recommendations. Case studies can also be used in the field of social work, politics, as I mentioned, anthropology, to draw attention to a widespread problem and spur more research. A detailed narrative about one person's experience will inspire more compassion than an academic paper filled with quantitative data. Stories often have a greater impact than statistics. Challenging, testing, or developing theories. Next step. This can be particularly useful in the process of forming and testing theory, where they may lead researchers to form a new theory or call into a question an existing one. They are invaluable tool for identifying exceptions to a rule or disapproving conventional wisdom. For instance, again, a medical profession may write a case study about a patient who exhibited a- atypical symptoms to assert that the list of symptoms for a condition should be expanded. A psychologist could use the case study to determine whether the new treatment they devised for depression is effective or to demonstrate that existing treatment methods are flawed. As a result of a case study, a marketing professional could suggest that consumer values have changed and that marketing best practice should be updated accordingly. This is how you use challenging testing in developing theories in each sectors. Next, enabling the study of unique subjects. Some subjects would be impossible, impractical, or unethical to study through other research methods. This is true in the case of extremely rare phenomenon. Many aspects of human behavior or even some medical conditions Suppose a medical profession would like to gather more information about multiple birth pregnancy with 4 or more fetuses. More information would be helpful because we have less information about them. But the reason we have less information is because they are so rare. Conducting case study for a few women who are currently pregnant with multiples or have given birth to multiples in the past may be the only practical way to research them. Case studies can also be used to gain insight into historical events and natural phenomena, things we are not able to repeat at will. Case studies have also been used to study subjects such as feral child, child prodigies, rare psychological conditions, crisis response, and more. Last, helping people better understand nuanced concept. Educators incorporate case studies into their lectures for a reason. Walking students through a detailed case study can make the abstract seem more real and draw out the nuances of a concept. Case study can facilitate engaging discussions, spark thoughtful questions, and give students a chance to apply what they have learned to real world situations. Outside the classroom, case studies can be used to illustrate complex ideas. For instance, a well constructed case study can highlight the unintended consequences of a new piece of legislation or demonstrate that depression does not always manifest in an obvious way. Case study can help readers and listeners understand and care about an issue that does not directly affect them. As we have looked into the case study benefits, let's also understand the limitations that case study has.